What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Truly appreciate the support on the channel. You guys have been destroying the videos in the absolute best way possible. Lots of views, lots of comments, lots of likes, so just thank y'all for that insane support, and we are continuing that trend with the videos today in a nice void build that kind of covers our exotic sword as a review as well, because this thing, especially on Hunter, is super fun and is up there in like an A tier sword for my opinion, especially on that Hunter. We are talking about the Heartshadow Void Exotic Sword from the Duality Dungeon. Random drop from the final boss in Cadle. Took me 25 runs to get it. My homie got it on his first. Total RNG at the very end, but there are some triumphs to obtain this, as well as a little puzzle inside of the Duality Dungeon to get its catalyst. So going over its perks right here, we have Jagged Edge for that increased damage for the weapon, Burst Guard, which I haven't really guarded with this, or swords in general besides Lament. Now, the perk that we are looking at right here is Shot in the Dark. Remaining invisible grants this weapon increased damage for a short, brief time, and then hitting a target with the weapon projectiles while Shot in the Dark is active weakens them. So it's another way to apply that weakened to apply more damage as well to whoever you weaken. Now, we become invisible via this sword actually, as well as our other facets like dodge, defeats with our abilities, and everything like that. Exhumatation right here. So heavy attacks made with full sword energy turn you invisible and fire exploding void projectiles. So these are just basically little seekers, a little less than an Axion bolt in a set of 4 that travel out when you do your heavy attack. Now this turns you invisible, and it does work with our different ways of extending that invisibility, like Echo of Persistence, as well as on our Hunter we have that Graviton forfeit helmet. So its normal invisibility is just like our normal invisibility when we obtain it without either of those as well. It's 5 seconds long when you use that heavy attack to become invisible. Now, when you stack that invisibility with this fragment right here for Echo of Persistence, it increases our duration by 2 seconds, so we're at about 7 seconds of invisibility with that heavy attack. Now, if we add the sword invisibility normal, plus this Echo of Persistence, as well as our Graviton forfeit, that gives us another increase to invisibility time in general. We come up to about 9-10 seconds of invisibility when using that sword or just dodging in general. It is exactly the same as it would work on the Hunter if the sword is the one giving us our invisibility, or as our dodge, which is an interesting aspect of this sword. Now, another interesting thing about this sword and this trait right here is it can be procced via any of our facets of invisibility, like I said. So if we dodge to go invisible, we can get this Shot in the Dark procced, so we can get that nice increased damage for the weapon, and it's about a 25% increase in damage for both its light and its heavy attack when you have this perk procced, and it does last for about a second or two after you become uninvisible as well. Now, just a little quick numbers for that damage increase. Our light attack went from 28,000, which you can see right here, to 35,000, almost 36, which was an increase of about 7,200, which was actually exactly 25%. And then when we moved to our heavy, it went up from 40,233 all the way up to 50,291, which again is roughly, it was 24.998. So about a 25% increase again in damage when we become invisible and get that Shot in the Dark procced. An additional facet to making the sword even better is throwing on this Echo of Instability, so defeating those targets with grenades create volatile rounds, so that'll apply to both our Funnel Web and our Heartshadow, which is great, so you get that little extra damage and that Void Burst for this sword, which that works on all of our characters. The only reason I'm on Hunter is it seems to pair perfectly with the hunter the best in my opinion because of graviton forfeit here to increase that invisibility effects even more. And when you get the catalyst by doing that little puzzle inside of the dungeon, it does give you faster movement speed while invisible. So that's a cool little addition as well. Was it worth it? Debatable, but I still think it's nice, especially on that hunter, because we're already super fast boys. So having this on as well gives us that nice ability to get out of combat even faster if we need to when we're weak. Now I have this build built out slightly to help with the way that we're going to become charged with light. To have those void elemental wells is what is going to cause us to become charged with light via our grenades, as well as defeats with both our sword and our funnel web. So that is how we're using elemental charge there. Next we have our high energy fire. So when we become charged with light by picking up those void elemental wells, we actually do more damage via high energy fire right there. So that is a cool addition to give this sword a little extra oomph as well. Now the rest of the mods just complement the build. Elemental armaments is for when we get defeats with our void weapons, has a chance to create those elemental wells. Elemental light is when we get defeats with our supers, and then elemental ordnance is defeats with our grenade, and all three of those is how we are proccing our void elemental wells, and those also will give us a little bit of energy for our dodge, melee, and grenades. So it pairs perfectly with weakening enemies, giving us volatile rounds, and creating elemental wells when we throw a grenade. And that just pairs perfectly, as you can see behind me, with the gameplay, how it pairs with creating that invisibility, weakening those enemies as well when we are invisible and shot in the dark is procced, and then we use another heavy attack. The heavy attack does use 4 sword ammo, but it doesn't make too big of a difference because with our finders on, we are getting it back super quickly. So definitely y'all try out this build, especially just in general, try out the Heartshadow if you've got it. I think it pairs perfectly on the hunter, but it does also work very well with turning our warlock and our titan invisible, since they don't have the dodge to create them as well. But like I said, the sword pairs super nicely with being able to dodge to proc its perks, as well as the other facets of getting ability kills with stylish executioner. Everything like that for our hunter is ideal pairings for this weapon here. So thank you guys again for that support, means a lot. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.